Hi, I'm Goodman, the Neurotic Guitarist, and welcome to my studio. I wanted to show you guys rapid fire some of my guitars, because so many people ask me, what instruments do you have? Like, how many do you have? Like, what are they? Well, let's go through them. Start off with a total museum piece. This is the best condition, Martin the First. Understand that they started in 1833, I believe. This is a circa 1850, so between about 1845 and 1855-ish. Totally beautiful, mint condition. Wow, I love playing instruments that should be in a museum, but aren't, because they're here. Want to talk about the great White Buffalo? Oh my God, when I saw this, I didn't even believe it was real. It's an L5 Les Paul, so a Les Paul body with an L5 headstock, except what it really is a 1930s L5 neck with an all maple custom made, I believe by Gibson, 1972 body. And I pretty much did the Jimmy Page, all three pickups, the whole nine. This thing weighs 13 pounds, it's dark matter. And on the back, Brazilian rosewood cavity plates. Isn't that cool? This thing is wild! Back to another insane acoustic. Look at the work on this. Like literally, now we have CNC machines, but this probably took months. It's just the craziest inlay. And this is an 1845 Aubrey Marie. Some people believe that he actually had made one of the guitars that Schubert used to compose. He was the head of the Meyercourt, France Romantic Guitar Movement. Say that 5 times fast. The Meyercourt, France Romantic Guitar Movement. And this, no cracks, is all original other than the fingerboard where we had a little, it's all original other than the fingerboard where we have a magnet in here so you can hit a high C sharp. And unlike most guitars that were just ebonized in this time, this is an actual piece of wrapped ebony. Talk about really, really interesting instrument. Almost 200 years old, plays perfect, and still in tune. This guitar will mess with your mind because a lot of people think it's a Gibson SG. Normally it would be, but from 1961 through I believe 1963, this was the Les Paul Custom. Mary Ford and Les Paul played these guitars until Les Paul got divorced and then basically said, I don't want to give her any more money. So they changed it to SG, which stands for solid guitar. But this is a 1962 with the crazy vibrola Les Paul Custom with an two original PAF humbuckers, and just wow. Like, this is one of those guitars that whenever anyone sees it, like, they're just like, it's like a, oh, I got $5,000, I got $5,000. We're just gonna keep going down the line here. So this is one of my favorite PRS guitars, because this PRS guitar was originally the color of this PRS guitar. That's right, this 1991 PRS Signature number 961 of 1000 was originally red. You can see this little flecks of red in here, and that's because it was sun bleached on a boat. This is one of my favorite buys ever, because anyone that knows anything about Les Paul Customs, unless they have like serious headstock injuries or they're just mangled, it's a $3,000+ guitar just starting. This is a 1978 Les Paul Custom that somebody decided to take off white paint. So it was originally, an Alpine white or what have you, to find this beautiful Norland era 3-piece top that has a little bit of a flamey flame. They took all of it. It has a maple neck, which definitely dates it to 1978. But this guitar, it also has a pancake body. I have to surmise it's a Zakk Wylde tribute guitar with the EMGs and the maple neck and the custom. Unbelievable. But what made me so happy about it was that I got it for $1,200 shipped. And I don't normally talk about prices, but holy crap, there's no headstock problems, there's nothing. All it was refinished and somebody put EMGs in it. And to be honest with you, in a lot of cases, I like EMGs better in a Les Paul than a lot of the stuff that Gibson puts in them, especially from this time period. So my Zakk Wylde guitar, and one of the best deals I've ever gotten. I literally manifested this guitar. And by that, I had another guitar that I didn't want, but I knew was valuable. And within 24 hours, I literally had a guy come over with cash and this guitar in exchange for the other guitar I didn't want. So why not get a 1954 reissue? And this guy was cool enough to get a better bridge, which the original bridge is in there, but he put these hum canceling bare knuckle pickups in there, but still kept the original pickups. So one of my favorite things is when people make or mod guitars I would never touch to a level where I actually like them better, but still make them reversible, because that means that you haven't taken the value out of them. So 1954 custom shop reissue with bare knuckle pickups. Wow, thing sounds bananas. When I was 16, I went to court over this guitar. I got to keep it because in court I won. This is my first Les Paul ever. It's a 2000 1960 reissue classic. I hated the pickups in it. Isaac Wilde did it with 81, 85 EMGs, and this has been a magic guitar. I think someone had offered me a 72 Les Paul custom for this and I turned it down. That's a moronic move. I'm glad I did because I love this guitar. It sounds amazing, and these 1960 classics are some of the best guitars that are on the planet. It's a 2 for 2. I got these within like 3 or 4 days of each other. These are the Les Paul Les Pluses. They're skinny. They're like little Pauls. And you'd think they'd sound smaller, but they don't. These are from a time period where they put these holograms on the back, and they had these brass nuts and robot tuners. But because of that, they did a lot of other things like put better woods, put actual mollusk inlay. I can't tell you how much I love the fact that this has real mother of pearl inlays on it. This originally came with a switch to tap these pickups, and they had the robot tuners. So these are now put back to exactly what a normal Les Paul has for wiring, and these are TV Jones type pickups, and these are the original, I believe, 57 and 57 Plus that I love. These are 2 examples of guitars that I took a chance, because in Vietnam and some other places overseas, you get these guitar builders that have these workshops. I don't know what the heck goes on down there. And they get unbelievable mother of pearl and abalone and, you know, black lip, like all black lip mother of pearl, all these different materials. But they suck at building guitars. So beautiful inlays, but it looks like Stevie Wonder was chipping away at the inside of these guitars. So if you buy overseas guitars like this, you basically have to strip them or do everything other than keep the mother of pearl and the abalone. But if you look at the inlay on the headstock, 3 separate really cool inlays. Talk about a beautiful guitar, and certainly gets more looks than half the things I have here. This is 1972 to 74-ish SG Special. They're really cool and unique because they came with these mini PAF black covered humbuckers. It just has the nicest neck on it. I like the belt buckle rash. I like the fact that the neck is kind of worn down because it shows me that somebody was doing something with this. They were making some noise, and I'm all about that. So what we have here is a 2 for 2. These are 2 10 tops. Say that. 2 10 tops. And this one's a McCarty, and this one is a custom 22. And the McCarty, it's a blue color. I want to say it's whale blue. And the thing I don't like about that is that it just seems, it's like it eats the wood. So you don't see the 10 top as much. But I love this guitar, and it's super cool. This custom 22, how do you not like white pickups on red? These Electric City pickups that somebody, again, modded before I got it. And that's why I was able to get it as cheap as I did. And it has ebony tuning heads versus these kind of Clusin style looking things. But 2 beautiful guitars, 2 10 top PRSs. I love PRS guitars. I always say it takes a man to play a Seafoam guitar, and I love this guitar for everything that it is. It's a PRS 513. Very cool because it has the 513 birds, and anyone who likes PRS knows that you need to have one of every type of the birds. And this is the first time we saw the 513 birds. I don't even think they make this guitar anymore, but tons of pickup options. And this one has a maple neck, and I think that the maple with the Seafoam is just bananas. Are you noticing a theme with the PRS? This is another McCarty Soap Bar, and I found this on Craigslist, and the headstock had been sheared right off of it. So I got it for such a ridiculously good deal because it was like, you know, taking an abused dog away from owners that just didn't want to handle it properly. I want to say I paid $600 for this with the case. And one of the things that I say a lot is that guitars that are cracked or hurt, or they try harder for tone. And this guitar, I've had a bunch of PRSs that were 10 tops or higher up on the food chain that just, they never sounded as good as this one. And I love it. I don't care about the headstock problem because I'm never gonna sell it, and it sounds great. My favorite era of PRS ever is the short heel era. By 91, about halfway through, they weren't always putting the sweet switch on custom 24s. Right now, PRS has a lot of guitars that the vintage market is just blowing up, that people ignored because they didn't have the birds or the 10 top. But this is a Brazilian rosewood fretboard. This one's beautiful, and it plays just staggeringly good. And it has just the right amount of dings and dangs on it for me, so I can hit it and play it and not really care what I do to it. $30 at an antique store. Granted, it didn't have any of the pickups or anything because someone had taken it out, the pickups and all the electronics out. So it was just this. It was just the shroud of this 1963 Epiphone Granada ES4 4444 for $30. Fuck it. And it's all original hardware. It's in unbelievable condition. And what I did is I threw in a pair of 57s, and my buddy put a control plate on it, very Les Paul style, and we just made it look nice. And this guitar is a Kalamazoo, Michigan made 60s golden era guitar. Before reverb absolutely blew up and the internet went crazy going, I can find what that guitar is worth, I got all kinds of crazy guitars for pretty cheap money, and this is an example of one. This is a 1969 ES150. There's a lot of ES150s from Gibson, but this is my favorite ES150 model, which is PAF humbuckers, and it's essentially an ES335, but it's fully hollow, and it's a lot thicker. So it's got that same pressed poplar, maple poplar thing going on, and it sounds wild. I barely use the tone knobs, but this has a master volume knob. So I guess if you're some jazz player, you want to dial in some weird coordinates on the USS Enterprise or something, this is what you'd use. And this is all original, other than somebody put this silly, dumb bridge that screams like shag rugs from 1973, but you know, it's cool, and period correct Grovers. So if you're gonna put tuners on your guitar, at least put good ones, and this one has it. So 1969 ES150, totally freaking badass.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?